Philip, over to you. Thank you.
Well, from deep fake and hacks to deep reality and how we can maybe change the future. Hi everybody, I'm Filip Negreanu. I am working for the European Commission on the road transport sector, meaning we are proposing policies that are then adopted by the European Parliament and Member States to improve the market access and to improve the social standards for truck drivers, for example. This includes infrastructure, this includes the safe and secure parkings, and actually I'm here today to present a very recent study that the Commission has undertaken to firstly showcase the situation as it stands today and to identify possible measures in the future to improve the situation and the availability of safe and secure parkings on the core and comprehensive corridors of the EU. The study will be actually published on the Commission website in a few hours today, so it's a fresh study. Its findings have been presented in a previous conference, but these findings are actually a pledge for creating a new ecosystem where safe and secure parkings are an intrinsic part of the well-being of drivers. And the main quest of our policies in the European Commission is to make sure that the value of using safe and secure parkings is not only reflected for the driver's well-being, which is quite a logical effect, but also for the companies that choose to use such parkings. The study is based on a survey that has consulted over 1,400 stakeholders, more than 700 truck drivers, and the rest are companies and associations. And the findings are very clear. All involved parties want drivers to be safe, they want to improve their well-being, and they wish that investments in safe and secure parkings accelerates to reach these goals. However, the study is also quite an important warning signal because its findings show that despite current efforts, which I'm going to explain just in a few seconds, we are in a situation where the estimated gap of safe and secure parking spots is huge. It's 390,000 missing safe and secure parking spaces, which in average is above 3,000 parkings missing. This is projected to increase by 2040 to 483,000 missing parking spaces if we maintain the current efforts. So if we maintain the current pace of investments and development. This is a strong warning signal, but it is also a way to showcase what can be done. For now, the European Commission, using the European funding scheme available, the Connecting Europe facility, has been investing above 120 million euros, with which there have been almost 100 parkings developed, funded. Greenfield projects, also upgrades, groupings of parkings, and we do this because there is a requirement that member states have agreed to, which is that every 150 kilometers on the 10 key corridors, the Trans-European Transport Network corridors, there needs to be a safe and secure parking. So these investments are geared to make sure that this regulation, meaning this law that all member states have to abide by, is enacted by 2040, meaning 150 kilometers you'll find each 150 kilometers you'll find the safe and secure parking. However, this public funding of the EU will never be enough to close the gap that I just mentioned. There is simply not enough firepower of public funding to make sure we build 300,000 parking spaces that are missing. There's more attached to it because, of course, there is private funding for parkings, as parkings do generate profits. It's a for-profit system. But these parkings, the safe and secure parkings, still, and the study shows that, via the responses given by the consulted stakeholders, they still represent a cost. The responses show that many drivers and companies still prefer parking at no cost. So this dichotomy between the general demand for all parkings to be safe and secure, to limit crime, to make sure the drivers are safe, the current availability scarcity, combined with the issue of translating the cost into value, is the key problem we need a solution for. And the study includes possible solutions, possible changes of policies that will enact that. The study also shows that this huge gap in availability is observed, with the largest gaps being present in France, Germany, Benelux, the Central European member states, Spain and Italy. So basically where the main trade flows are flowing. The second most important finding is that there are many parkings which do have already safe and secure features, but they lack any sort of certification. So they are invisible for those operators or drivers who would even choose to use them. That's also because these parking standards, and TAPA has a great role to play here as an organization that works for certifying parkings with EU standards. These parking standards are still considered by many operators, and the study shows that, as just a nice label to have while you already have a parking which has safety and security features. Parkings are also lacking gender-specific needs and infrastructures, and the driver fatigue that comes with not finding a parking is something that is also clearly showcased in the study. Finally, the findings also show that basically the situation of this lack of availability, the lack of certification, and simply not enough safe and secure parkings functions like a magnet for crime. I'm sure all of you have seen the situation on European motorways where trucks are parked on the side of the road, and if they're empty, they just open the doors to signal to possible perpetrators that there is no interest in attacking them. So this is what happens when the parkings are not safe and secure. They virtually attract crime, migration routes, and they simply disturb the well-being of the drivers. The study shows that 90% of drivers have been involved, attacked, or have been involved in some crime activity while they were operating in the EU. But the study, besides this situation, also proposes measures. And the first one is linked to what we've just experienced before, the technological advancements that can improve the situation on safe and secure parkings, first and foremost by showing where they are, the location, the parking space availability in a parking, the price, which payment systems should the driver be prepared to use. In the future, parkings will also more and more have automated payment system, just like the electronic tolling system of the motorways. Then the labor dynamics. If the parkings will be developed, it will certainly improve the bleak situation of driver shortage. The average truck driver age is 55 years old currently in the EU. So imagine this going forward in a number of years and the pace of replacing the drivers with new talent. So this will attract new talent to the job, will improve the scaling up of new talent joining this profession. Finally, the recommendations propose a range of actions which will pave the way forward of the European Commission. Of course, our job is to continue the funding. The current negotiations on the next funding scheme for the next 8 years are ongoing, and the Connecting Europe facility will probably remain to be the most important funding instrument for public support for development of safe and secure parkings. But besides the public funding, which I've already told you is so scarce, we need different types of actions. And based on the study findings, it is very clear that the most effective action is to have quick wins and upgrades and to certify the already existing parkings which have safety and security features. This is the fastest and cheapest way to increase availability for safe and secure parkings in Europe. And for this, we need, of course, the full support of certification bodies and of the work of TAPA, which is so important to create an efficient coordination among parking associations to make sure that parking operators are informed and aware of the benefits of a certification process or a quick win and upgrade that could even be funded in some instances with public support. Second, the connectivity and digitalisation focused on the driver and on the accessibility of such parkings for drivers. In its broadest sense, it is vital because this will increase the value that such parkings can offer to drivers. We intend to support and promote pilot cases where we integrate safe and secure parkings with ports and other large terminals along logistics chains, for instance, through the Digital Transport and Logistics Forum to promote intermodality, to create green, safe lanes where some security inspections or certification can happen while you are parking before you reach the terminal, before you reach the port, thus accelerating your merchandise being processed on the way to the final shipping. This development should also be anchored in what we call the TEN-TEC. This is an online map which you can access even now, which shows the core comprehensive infrastructures in the EU. So the main corridors, the main ports, the main airports, and it describes them. And the next step is to include all safe and secure parkings on that map, so to showcase where they are, to allow drivers to see them. A next step would be to have a pilot app at EU level, because for now there's zillions of apps of different parkings, but there is no single app where truck drivers can check where am I going, where am I parking, where am I going to sleep overnight in a safe and secure parking. So developing a unified EU-wide reservation observatory is one of the actions that the study proposes, which would of course require technological neutrality and compatibility with various devices and apps and systems used by different stakeholders. Finally, we need to create a permanent focus on well-being, a driver-centric approach. For this, we need more data about the cost savings for insurances, for example, if trucks stop more in safe and secure parkings. That can also show, this kind of data can also be used to gather information about how the driver well-being and satisfaction increases for those drivers that use safe and secure parkings. And I'm very glad that at this point, presenting the findings of the study, we already have various stakeholders who have launched together a well-being campaign supported by the European Commission, where we will encourage each and every one of you stakeholders involved in safe and secure parking areas development or use to sign the pledge and get active, because this is how we can create this jump that I've been talking about in my speech. Now, since I'm in between you and lunch, I'll conclude now. But the Commission will not end its work with this study. It will not end its work with the funding that I've mentioned. The study will be published today. All its recommendations will be basically informing our future decisions on upgrading the EU standards. There is a so-called delegated act, which means a little law that defines what a safe and secure parking means. This study will inform the improvement of those standards that are mentioned there. We also will reflect on how we can change the laws on driving and rest times to include safe and secure parkings in this ecosystem of road safety and driving and rest times, to make sure that the use of parkings is reflected as a positive impact on the driving and rest time of drivers. So we also are very happy to lend our support to your activities around this topic, and do let us know how we can become more active in a bilateral cooperation with you for the support of developing new safe and secure parkings. This we all need to do to increase the resilience of the transport system. As we've seen during the COVID crisis, during the start of the war in Ukraine, transport was the first sector that was affected, because transport is rarely hitting the front page of newspapers unless it stops. But when it does stop, it becomes really important to regain that resilience. And safe and secure parkings are an important part of this transport ecosystem resilience for the European Union. So with this, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Philip. Thank you so much. Perhaps you could come and join me for a couple of quick questions. Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So it's clearly a very important topic for TAPA EMEA and its members, with over 80% of all recorded cargo crimes targeting vehicles, and many of these attacks, most of them happening in unsecure parking locations. So we've been getting lots of questions coming in from the audience. I have some too, so we'll try and whiz through them, and I'll try and combine them as much as possible. What are the future prospects for safe and secure parking development in the EU between now and 2040? And a sort of subside of that is, how does the electrification of vehicles and transportation play into that as well?
There's two types of answer to this question. One would be how many parkings we intend to fund. And the answer to that is to give you the public data that are available right now. We are in the middle of awarding funding for yet another batch of safe and secure parkings. We've had 38 proposals tabled, and next month we'll find out how many of those could have received funding based on the maturity they have. It's very interesting to see that these parkings that are being developed, they to respond to the sustainability question that you asked, they all include recharging stations. Some of them even include roof solar panels that will generate the electricity for the parking itself. There is a requirement to have recharging stations on the TEN-T corridors that I've mentioned, every 60 kilometers by 2030. And the parking areas, those that should be every 150 kilometers, also need to have recharging stations. What we do fund, to answer again the first part of the question, is those parkings that are on the motorways, on those corridors, or 3 kilometers aside. So that is the only mandate we have currently with EU public funding, but of course there is private funding that is also developing parkings. To come back to the needs, if we look at those parkings that have safe and security features already in them, they are 700 and they are not certified. So if we take an average of, very conservatively speaking, 50 parking spaces for 700 parkings, you can imagine the leap that that certification would include. So our pledge is to help parking operators, parking owners to certify their parkings and group them and possibly receive public support for that.
Another question coming in is, do you have an update on the EU Commission website with secure parking sites?
This is what I was referring to. So the TEN-Tech maps, which are accessible and publicly available, do not yet include the safe and secure parkings, but even if they would include those that are certified according to the EU standards, and that's around 100. They would not include the 700 that I've just mentioned. So that is why, besides making them publicly available on the maps, and this is an internal discussion we are currently having with our colleagues in charge of the infrastructure part of the Commission, we would need this observatory that is allowing apps that are linked to parkings to cooperate and communicate to each other, so that we can have a European overview of where the parkings are and where the availabilities for parking inside such parkings are.
Another question which I wanted to combine, and I've just lost it. How can we raise the attractiveness of safe and secure parking locations for operators and drivers? And another question that's come in is, could the EU Commission incentivise drivers to use safe and secure parking by offering tax benefits or a tax reduction for parking expenses at certified locations?
Let me say no. I'm joking. Well, we're not taxing anyone, so we cannot offer tax reductions. But we can incentivize this indirectly by including, as I've said, in the new iterations of European legislation, the benefits of using safe and secure parkings. For now, what our main pledge and efforts are geared towards is to motivate the large freight forwarders and operators to have their own safe and secure parking use standards, meaning when you subcontract to the fifth company that is a company of 2 trucks, that company is 99% not going to use safe and secure parkings. But if the initial contractor or the freight forwarder has an internal standard or guideline saying my drivers and my subcontractors should use whenever available and safe and secure parking, then this would immediately put more drivers in such parkings. So that is the definition of the driver-centric approach. And this will in turn decrease costs for insurances, so it links to taxation, and those 15 to 30 euros, that's the average price for a safe and secure parking, in between 15 and 30 will stop just being a cost, they will be just a vector for more value creation.
And I'm just going to, again, try and combine 2 questions about partnership, really. Has the EU Commission taken into consideration to liaise with secure parking providing platforms? And would you consider, or do you consider, insurance companies to support in funding these secure parking areas?
Yes, we are actually working on launching a pilot project that will specifically be asked to create an EU-wide app, a pilot app, for the well-being of drivers, meaning not just only for safe and secure parkings, but also for how they load and unload, how they can plan this during their trips. So this app will be, let's say, the first try to create this interoperable general app that can communicate with the existing private apps of safe and secure parkings. The insurance companies, they have, to reply to that one too, they have a very clear interest to reduce the risks. But not only them, the operators have a direct interest to reduce the risks, which then reduces the premium that they pay to the insurance companies. So, of course, we are in contact with the insurance companies, and we are also in contact with the parking associations in Europe to make sure that this discussion in between insurances and parkings is continuously followed up.
And we've got more questions coming in, which we won't get to, but we will try and answer those in an edition of Vigilant. But just to finish, what is the role of safe and secure parking in the single market for road transport, and how can an industry association like TAPA EMEA help to drive progress in this area?
Simply said, they are vital, because if trucks can't park, then the system doesn't function. If trucks can't park safely, then you lose. You lose the drivers, you lose the merchandise. So organizations like yours are key to embed these principles that we've been discussing today, to embed this value idea instead of a cost idea linked to safe and secure parkings. And most importantly, organizations like TAPA can help certifying those parkings that are already good enough, but they simply don't exist since they are not certified or they're not visible for the drivers. So yes, this would be it in a nutshell.
Filip, once again, many thanks for your time.